Okay, so choosing an irrigation system. It sounds kind of simple, right? But here's the thing. If you get this decision wrong, it can cost you a lot. Not just once, but season after season. So today, we're going to break down the two heavyweights in the game, sprinkler versus drip. We're talking root versus rain. And by the end of this, you'll know how to make the smartest choice for your situation.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The stakes are incredibly high. We're not just talking about getting plants wet. We're talking about real-world efficiency, your bottom line, and, frankly, the health of your entire operation. A lot of the time, the right irrigation strategy is the secret ingredient that makes all the difference.
So before we get into the weeds, and yeah, we will literally get into weeds later, let's just nail down the fundamental principle that separates these two systems. It's actually really simple, but it changes absolutely everything.
So first up, you've got your sprinkler irrigation. You know this one. Just think of it as creating your very own personal rain shower on command. It covers a big, broad area, and it wets everything. The plants, the soil, the whole shebang. It's a top-down approach. And then you have drip irrigation. This is a completely different philosophy. It's not about rain at all. It's a targeted, almost surgical approach. It delivers water slowly, precisely, right where the plant actually needs it the most. Down at the roots. So if you remember one thing, let it be this. Sprinklers water the area. Drip targets the roots. That single distinction, it is the key that unlocks all the other pros and cons we're about to get into. So let's see how this plays out in a real head-to-head comparison.
All right, let's do it. Let's put these two systems in the ring and see what happens. We're going to look at everything from water use all the way to disease risk to see where each one really shines and, where it kind of falls flat.
First round, water efficiency. And this is a huge one, maybe the biggest. Drip irrigation, well, it almost always has the edge here. Why? Because it puts the water right where it needs to go, straight into the soil. You're just not losing much. Sprinklers, though, they're out there fighting the elements. You've got wind blowing the spray all over the place, and on a hot day, some of that water just, poof, it evaporates before it even has a chance to do its job. And wow, this quote just hits home, doesn't it? That's not just wasted water. That is money, literally vanishing into thin air. It's this invisible cost that can just slowly drain profitability without you even realizing it's happening. And of course, the right system often just comes down to the crop itself. Drip is absolutely fantastic for things like orchards, vineyards, or high-value vegetables planted in rows. Sprinklers, on the other hand, they really shine when you need that big, even coverage. Think about starting a new lawn or getting tiny seeds to germinate. Okay, what about plant health? This is interesting. See, wet leaves can be a perfect breeding ground for all sorts of nasty fungal and bacterial diseases. Because drip keeps all the foliage nice and dry, it can seriously lower that risk. Sprinklers, well, they mimic rain, which means they get the whole plant wet, and for some sensitive crops, that can be a real problem. And now for everyone's favorite topic, weeds. A sprinkler system, it just doesn't discriminate. It's going to water your crops, sure, but it's also going to water every single weed in between them. Drip, on the other hand, is much smarter. By only wetting a narrow little strip of soil, it basically starves out the weeds growing in the dry spaces. And that can mean a lot less work and maybe fewer herbicides for you.
But hey, don't count sprinklers out just yet. They have a really unique superpower. In some climates, you can use those overhead sprinklers strategically to cool down your crops during a blistering heat wave. Or, and this is amazing, you can use them to protect your plants from a light frost. A drip system just can't do that. No way.
So I know what you're thinking. Which one costs more? And the answer is, well, it's complicated. It's not as simple as drip versus sprinkler. The real cost, the initial cost, depends on the specifics of your site. How big is it? What's the terrain like? How much automation do you want? All these things play a huge role.
And this right here is such a crucial point about cost. That initial price tag is only one part of the story. You have to think about the total cost of ownership. A system that saves you money on water and energy every single day for years and years, that might actually be the cheaper option in the long run, even if it costs more to install up front.
And this might be the most important takeaway of all. You can have the best, most expensive equipment in the world, but it's useless if you don't manage it properly. A really well-managed sprinkler system can easily outperform a sloppy, neglected drip system. It all comes down to discipline. Checking for clogs, monitoring the pressure, making sure everything is working the way it's supposed to.
Okay, so after all of that, we're back to the main event.
We've seen the pros, we've seen the cons, we've put them head to head. So, which one is it? Which one is the winner?
The answer is, you're asking the wrong question. Yeah, really. This whole thing, it's not about picking some universal winner, like one is good and the other is bad. It's about totally changing how you even think about the problem.
So let's just reframe this whole conversation. Instead of asking which one is best, the smartest growers, the really successful ones, they ask a much more powerful set of questions.
Start asking these questions instead. First, what is my number one biggest limitation? Is it a lack of water? Because if it is, then precision becomes everything. Second, what does my specific crop need to really thrive? Does it absolutely hate having wet leaves? And third, what unique problems am I trying to solve here? Do I actually need that frost protection we talked about? The answers to these questions, they're going to point you straight to the right system.
And that brings us to the final, really crucial idea. This isn't a competition. It was never a competition. Choosing the right system is a strategic choice. It's about matching the right tool to your specific job.
So let's just quickly summarize the strategy, right? If your main goals are saving water, delivering it with pinpoint precision, and being super efficient with row crops, then drip is almost certainly your stronger strategic move. But if what you really need is broad, even coverage, maybe some cooling, or a reliable way to get a dense seedbed going, then sprinklers are probably the more practical tool for that job.
And this is the core message we really want you to take away from this. Stop looking for the one-size-fits-all silver bullet answer. It doesn't exist. The best system is simply the one that is perfectly matched to your land, your crop, and your goals. Period.
Let's end on this really powerful thought. Because at the end of the day, irrigation isn't just about the mechanics of moving water from point A to point B. It is a strategic act. It's about delivering value, real value, like life and health and profit through every single drop. So, choose wisely.